I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video, my biggest loss ever in crypto, $50,000 down the drain on Terra Luna. So obviously over the last couple of days there has been a tremendous amount of chaos, the market inward downward trend because the Luna Foundation is destabilizing. The UST stable coin is not keeping up its peg. Terra Luna has taken a nosedive, probably one of the most historic events in crypto ever, and for me a big learning process. Obviously all the YouTubers like to show you their wins, how much money they're actually making. But in this video, I just want to show you my learning process, what I learned by losing $50,000. One of the foundational lessons, only ever invest what you're willing to lose. So this money that I invested into Luna actually was all profit, fortunately for me. Obviously, if you watch my channel, I am a more mature investor. I have been doing this for quite a while, and I really do enjoy it. So I joined the Imposters Genesis Aliens mint with several wallets because I had numerous whitelists through Neo Tokyo, through the raffle and everything. Basically, these were minted for 0.69 and I sold them all around 2 Ethereum quite a while ago. I made about $46.8 thousand profit on the Imposter Genesis overall. I sold them all before the reveal event, as is my strategy. So that yielded me around a net minus $3,000 on the whole Terra Luna event. So what actually happened? I'm not going to go into too many details regarding what happened with Terra Luna, the USDT depegging. What I am going into is what I learned throughout this process. Because although I didn't actually lose $50,000, I did had it before and now I don't. So I think every dollar is still a dollar and we should respect what we're actually doing. We should try to take learnings from our losses and see what we would do different next time. As I said before, a very mature approach. I'm not sad about it. Would I have liked to see things differently? Of course, still a human being, right? So Luna was definitely trading at $100, $110. I never really paid much attention to Luna, so I didn't know how the UST worked. As soon as it was basically moving down, I had to basically investigate, right, what was actually going on. So it went from $100 to basically $1. And that's when I started playing, right? Because I was like, how low can it actually go? Well, apparently very low, right? So I didn't get into the whole Luna thing until, let's say, I think $5. So right here. One of the biggest lessons when people say don't try to catch a falling knife is obviously very important to consider. But I also am a very high-risk investor, right? I do a lot of micro-cap gaming trades, which usually take a very good turn for me, right? Very risky, but of course, because I have heavy bags of stables, I like to take this risk and usually it pays off quite well. This time it didn't. So basically it dropped down. I waited for the first bounce and then basically I got in at about $3 and I got in about $5. Basically immediately a couple of hours later I noticed that I got wrecked, right? Because it never recovered thereafter. So that was already quite a big dump, right? Then it basically continues to spiral out of control. And the volume, I think, is very important. So once we zoom in a little bit more on the chart to see what actually happened. So this was basically the moment where obviously at some point you would want to make an entry. And I traded on Binance against USDT, right? So this was just a couple of days ago, actually. 0.85, right? And then the rally up happened. This is a classic case of FOMO, which I think is very important to consider. Never let yourself be controlled by your emotions while trading. Very mature thing to say, very difficult in practice, right? So one of the things that I do is when I do take entries, I do set my selling points as well. So I did take the entry here and I put my selling point somewhere at like $11, whatever. Obviously it never reached that point. So I wiped out all these sales and just sat on the coins for the time being. Then I did make another entry later down the line. So when it reached, I think it went back to something like 10 cents here. So let me zoom in. So I did make an entry. Well, I was on Binance. So these show the averages, but I think that was like a little over a day later. Somewhere I made an entry at about 1 cent, or I wanted to make an entry. That's the one thing that fucked me up. That's probably why I got like the massive FOMO thereafter. Because there was one specific moment where I had an order ready for 2.1 cents. I didn't complete that order. I removed it. And within 15 minutes, it shot up to 12 cents, which basically would have recuperated the entire loss. And that was the exact moment which I look back on right now, where the spiral of emotions occurred. I didn't have much emotions before. Okay, yeah, $40,000, $50,000, it's gone, right? The 50,000 was the total. I think at that point was maybe 10 or 20, because I did do it in steps. But every time, because I got emotional, I fucked up more, right? Which is a very important lesson here. So then I missed out on that pump, 2.1 cents to 14, 13 cents, something like this. So as soon as it dropped down again to 1 cent, right, I made the entry, 1.5 cents, 2.1 cents. Between that amount, I made several entries, but it never did pump again after that. So again, once you miss the opportunity, it's not a guarantee that that opportunity might come again, right? And it never did come again. So one day basically passed, and after that day, when I woke up, it had multiple zeros. So basically, I went to, you can see here, 10 p.m. So when I went to bed, it was like 2 cents, 2.5 cents. So here I went to bed, and then I woke up at about 7 a.m. Well, the perfect timing. And as you could see, it just added like a numerous amount of zeros, right? So here I knew it was game over, right? From this point onwards, what you have to take into consideration is the amount of Luna in circulation, right? So with the amount in circulation, even right now, it can never reach 1 cent again because of the fucking supply, right? So basically, it was game over. However, again, I was interested in Luna. Let me tell you why. Let me scroll down to today. Because I was like, I still have a huge bag of stables, but I told myself I'm not going to play anymore. Because at this point, it's straight gambling. It has been straight gambling. It hasn't been trading, because I'm not a day trader. I don't know technical analysis. I don't even know how futures work, how much leverage trading works. I was just spot trading. I was just having fun. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? That strategy. Very simple. And some people might call me stupid, sure. But it's just the full transparency here today to show you that again today, this morning, when I read the announcement, I was like, oh, when the announcement comes, the coin might pump again and I might have some opportunity. So here it was 2 and it went all the way till 7. So you could make a 3x here, but the could have, would have, should have scenario, I just told myself, you pushed in 50K, we can push in another 100K and make very easy returns. But what comes quick goes quick, likely, or has a tremendous amount of risk. And I was like, okay, we're down 50,000. Let's not make it 150,000, right? Because that's basically going into the range where I'm saying I'm doing stuff which is not for the overall scheme of things. I rather spend 50 to 100,000 on micro cap gaming coins, which I will hold for a year, because I'm so busy building all these businesses, all these crypto projects. It doesn't really matter for me. So the quick money is definitely something that I wasn't looking for. So I let this chance go, and I'm happy that I did, because it's obviously extremely stressful. But zooming out, it's kind of funny that probably one of the most historic days in the crypto space, where one of the biggest projects lost basically all of its value, because it still has a high market cap, but that's because of the insane supply, right? This basically, the market cap is basically almost zero at this point. It's not worth 2.4 billion here, because, well, they still have the Bitcoin reserve, right? But you would have to research what's actually happening with this project. In any way or form, this currency as it is will have no survival, right? It's just done. It's not necessarily a rug pull or anything like that. I don't want to misuse that term because I see it all the time. It is definitely a failed process where people saw the vulnerability in the setup, took advantage of this, made a lot of money, and a lot of other people lost a lot of money. What you have to realize, for the price to go down as it did, right? When you sell, somebody else has to buy, right? And when you buy, somebody else has to sell. So although this looks like people lost a lot of money, billions, also billions of money were transferred, right? For all of these sales orders happening, people were buying. For all these buy orders happening, people were selling. So although I lost 50,000, it means that somebody else gained 50,000. Right? And that's very important to look at it from a learning point of view, where you can basically say, yes, I lost big time, but next time, how can I be the one gaining and somebody else is losing? Because that's how the crypto space works. Money is not generated out of nothing, right? For you to win, somebody else has to lose. And for you, when you lose, somebody else wins. So there's always something to learn. When we look at UST, the stable, obviously when it started to depeg, and you would have to research obviously how the pegging system works, what it's reliant on, so basically Anchor, UST, Luna, those three currencies projects you need to understand. Otherwise it doesn't make that much sense. But basically how it happened is, when I think I did the first 15,000 on Luna. Oh no, I did the first 15,000 on UST, which I fucked up. Then I pushed in another 15,000 and I did 100x. So basically I had 3K profit at that point. Then I was like, okay, let me not fuck with UST anymore. Let me move it to Luna, and there I fucked up big time. So the best scenario would be I understood how the UST process worked, so I should have stayed here. I only did the research on Luna after I lost the money, right? Which is like a huge lesson. I'm a super, super big research guy in general. I research all of the project thoroughly, and here my emotions got the best of me. I lost myself into the FOMO. I was doing the research while I was doing the trading or waiting for the trades to be completed, and I'm also not a trader. Right? So definitely the NFTs have my preference, the long-term strategies, the IDOs, the crypto gaming, the launch pads that I normally focus on. I should stick with what I know. Do we sometimes like to gamble? Yes. What is very important as a lesson overall, if you perhaps lost 90% of your portfolio in this, you're obviously fucked, right? I lost... I can't say the specific percentage to not expose myself too much in terms of financials, but I lost a very little percentage of my portfolio on this, right? And as I said, what I risked here, the risked capital, was basically profit from a month ago from one NFT project, right? So it's very important to understand that when people say like, oh, I made these gains, how did I make these gains and how did they reinvest these gains? And when somebody talks about their losses, for me, it would be way more impactful if I would have taken $50,000 from my savings account, transferred the US dollars to UST, and then to Luna, and then lost 50,000 from my actual like cash holdings, than if I reinvested profits from an NFT project, right? That's why I'm very transparent about this. That's why I don't have any emotional reactions to the loss of this money. And I'm very focused on what can we learn and what can I teach, or at least show perhaps to others who go through this process, or prevent that you would ever have to go through this process, right? So I hope you appreciate the transparency. My biggest loss on a crypto investment ever. I have made several big losses. The biggest ones happened in 2017 on the Bitcoin crash. But this is basically a loss that was basically also part gambling, right? It wasn't really investing at that point, but definitely interesting to see how this has evolved. I hope you appreciate the transparency. If you do and you're new here, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to share your Luna UST experience, I would love to hear about it so we're not alone. Feel free to drop that in the comments down below and I'll be sure to have a look. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.